Hello everyone, Professor GonGoon here. Today's video will be the start of my trading series, and in this video we'll talk about the benefits of learning how to trade well, and I'll give you tips on how to interact with minions during a trade. So what is trading? I'm sure most of you know what it is, but to make it simple, trading is when you exchange damage with the enemy laner. So what makes trading so important? Excluding jungle ganks, the main way you win your lane is by out-trading the enemy laner. Many people would argue that the laning phase is the most important because it sets the tone for the rest of the game. It's a lot easier to win if you go into the mid game with 3 kills and 2 completed items, as opposed to 3 deaths and no completed items. And this all comes from the laning phase. So in this trading series, I plan on breaking trading down into multiple different topics, and we'll cover each of them individually, starting with the basics and working our way towards more advanced topics. If you don't know how to trade around minions or avoid them when trading, you'll lose almost every trade that you do take. The first thing we'll look at is how much damage minions do. I'm going to walk up and auto attack Ezreal to take Minion Aggro, and we'll see how much damage the minions do before they drop aggro. In 3 seconds my health goes from 717 to 591. Remember that I also regenerate 3 health per second, so if you exclude that, minions did about 135 damage to me in 3 seconds. That's about 2 auto attacks from the AD champion at level 1, and keep in mind in the actual trade, the enemy champion will also be hitting you along with the minion damage. Now we know that auto attacks draw Minion Aggro, but what about spells? Spells don't draw Minion Aggro unless they're auto attack modifiers like Ezreal's Q. So this means if you do want to trade the enemy's creep wave, to avoid taking creep damage, you have to trade with spells and not with auto attacks. But realistically, when you do trade, you'll auto attack the enemy champion. So how do you get rid of Minion Aggro? How do you stop the minions from killing you? By using the brushes. When you go into a brush, or when minions lose vision of you, they will no longer aggro you. This means you can auto attack the enemy champion and then walk into a brush to stop the minions from attacking you. But there is a way to keep minion aggro on the enemy, and that's by warding the brush. Ezreal wards the middle brush, and as I walk into it to remove creep aggro, notice they keep attacking me, but when I walk into the top brush, the aggro breaks. This is because the top brush isn't warded. But what do you do if you want to all in the enemy without taking too much minion damage? You simply kill some of their minions before going in. Before I go in on Riven, I thin the waves so only the caster minions remain. For majority of the trade, I take no damage from the minions because I'm outside of their range. And even when I do get in range of them, I don't take much damage because it's only 3 minions. It's also difficult for Riven to fight me back because she'll take much more creep damage than I will due to the wave I built up. But that's something I'll touch on more in a future video. Keep in mind minions have a set aggro range, meaning if you're outside of their range, they won't hit you. Here Ezreal auto attacks me, but he's only in the range of 2 of the caster minions. Instead of helping me, the other minions are about to suicide into the turret. Must be NA minions. And how else can we use minions to our advantage? To block skill shots. Minions have hitboxes just like champions do, so if the enemy champion relies on skill shots to do damage, hide behind your own minions to make it awkward for him. And while this may sound obvious, a lot of people in lower elos don't do this. To wrap it all up, we'll look at a trade in an actual game. This is a high elo Korean solo queue game, and we're just gonna observe this Kennen for a bit and see how he trades and interacts with the minions. The clip starts with Kennen abusing his range over Poppy and zoning her off the creep wave. In this situation, there really isn't anything Poppy can do, but I'll talk more about that in the melee versus range video. Kennen just walks directly at Poppy and he's looking to land Qs and get auto attacks off if Poppy is in range. As I mentioned earlier, creeps have an aggro range, so if he auto attacks Poppy over here, the 3 ranged creeps aren't in range to aggro him, so there is no downside to this at all. But as the new creep wave comes in, notice how he walks back towards the brush, and right before he goes in it, he gets a free auto off on Poppy. Then he goes into the brush to drop aggro and repeats it. At this point, he's done about 200 damage to Poppy, and he hasn't taken a single point of damage in return. And there is one more point from this clip that I wanted to discuss. I did say you don't want to fight in big creep waves, but if you can win the trade while taking minion damage, then in most cases it's good to go for that trade. Here Kennen takes 60 to 70 damage from creeps, but he does triple the damage to Poppy, so even though he took some creep damage, it was still a very good trade for him. As I mentioned earlier, this is more of a basic video because before I can teach advanced concepts, I have to start with the basics. And even if you are an experienced player, touching up on the basics can never be a bad thing. So hopefully this video helps some of you. And if it does, feel free to like the video and subscribe. The next video in the series will be learning how to trade around cooldowns, so make sure you check that one out. Thanks for watching. Professor GonGoon signing out. Peace.